Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh and this is your stimulus check update for the second stimulus package for Wednesday, July 22nd. I hope everyone is off to a great start to their week so far. In this video, I'll be discussing both the first and second stimulus checks, including Mitch McConnell now confirming the second stimulus check, which is very good news, and what that means for us. I'll also be discussing House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy's thoughts on the next stimulus package, what we can expect as far as the timeline of the next stimulus package goes, and then I'll be wrapping up this video by answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. But first, if you wouldn't mind real quickly liking this video, giving me a big thumbs up, it really just helps with the YouTube algorithm in terms of pushing this video out to other viewers like you, and hopefully helping other people like you as well. So, with the rise of cases in many cities, some school districts, such as in Los Angeles and San Diego, are already deciding to be online only at the start of the year. This is all while the next stimulus package is being aimed at getting kids back into schools. Some GOP senators believe that true economic recovery simply cannot take place until kids are back in school. Mitch McConnell stated, quote, "We can't have a normal country unless kids are in school. That has an impact on jobs because kids and schools and jobs are interconnected in every single way. It affects both parents to get back to work if the kids are home." What are your guys' personal thoughts on this? Do you believe that at this point in time it is safe for kids to return to school? Or do you believe that maybe only kids in certain cities where the cases of the virus are a little bit lower should be returning to school in those cities? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Missouri Governor Parsons is another believer that kids should be returning to school in the fall. He admitted that if kids do go back to school, they will get the virus, but since they're at the lowest risk possible, they'll just simply get over it. He doesn't believe that kids would get so sick from this virus that they would have to be admitted into hospitals. He believes that they would just have to go home and then they would eventually get over it. Meanwhile, many Florida educators are in outrage after the state's emergency order that forces schools to reopen in August. The president of the Florida Education Association announced the lawsuit against Governor Ron DeSantis and other members of the Florida Education Commission, including Miami-Dade's mayor in the circuit court in Miami. So it should be interesting to see how all that plays out, especially with Florida being one of the hot spots in the United States right now. All right, so more stimulus payments were directly deposited this morning by the IRS into bank accounts. So if you haven't yet received your first round of stimulus payments, make sure to check your bank account this morning. It may be there. And if you check and if it's still not there, do not worry. The IRS is going to continue sending out more and more stimulus payments each and every week until everyone gets paid. So in the meantime, just continue checking the payment portal and you will eventually receive a payment date and you will eventually receive your payment. Also, let me know in the comment section below if you've already received your first round stimulus payment, and then let me know if you're still waiting as well. Also, just another reminder, if you would like to get in touch with the IRS in regards to your first stimulus payment, you can always call them. Their number is 1-800-919-9835. Just know that there probably is going to be a little bit longer of a hold time, so I would recommend to call a little bit earlier in the day. And also know that you may not find out much more information than what you can already find through the payment portal. Also, just one more reminder, if you are an expat living abroad outside the United States, you should be receiving your stimulus payment directly deposited by the end of this week if you do have a US-based bank account. Now, if you do not have a US-based bank account, it is going to be a little bit longer as they're going to have to be mailing your check instead. Okay, so some very good news came out yesterday as Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell once again came out and reiterated his and Republican support for a second round of stimulus payments. His exact quote was, "Speaking of building on what worked in the CARES Act, we want another round of direct payments to help American families keep driving our national comeback." This is obviously some very good news because during Monday's meeting with President Trump, we heard a lot about tax breaks, we heard a lot about liability protections, and then we heard a lot of other things not related to stimulus payments. So we got a little bit worried there. Still though, I do have to say this doesn't come at much of a surprise because stimulus payments were one of the more bipartisan issues going into this next relief package. Now, one thing that McConnell did not mention during his floor speech was who would be eligible for the next round of stimulus payments. At the moment, though, a lot of us are kind of drawing the assumption that McConnell is wanting to limit the next round of stimulus payments to only people earning less than $40,000 per year. Presumably, we can assume that $40,000 will be the cutoff for single filers, and for married filers, we can double that up to $80,000. The one thing that I will say about that, though, is that personally, I really don't see that limitation taking place. You see, other members of Congress, especially in the House, would be completely opposed to such an income limitation, so I can't see a bill like this possibly passing where only people earning less than $40,000 per year would earn a stimulus payment. In my eyes, at least, this may simply just be a negotiation tactic on McConnell's part. McConnell knows that he'll most likely have to give in to some of the proposals from the Democrats in order to get some of the things that he wants, such as liability protections. What do you guys personally think about this? Do you believe that only people earning less than $40,000 per year should be eligible for the next stimulus payment? Or do you think that we should keep it the same as last time? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. In addition to a second round of stimulus payments, McConnell also said Republicans support a second round of PPP funding, which should be more targeted this time around. McConnell said, quote, "With a majority of businesses expected to exhaust their initial Paycheck Protection funding this summer, we'll also be proposing a targeted second round of PPP with a special eye towards hard-hit businesses. It is still unknown how much of the initial PPP loans that businesses will have to repay back." House Speaker Nancy Pelosi had discussions with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin the other day in regards to the next relief package. Pelosi apparently told her Democratic caucus she believes the Republicans and the Democrats can resolve their differences and hopes to have a negotiated bill by the end of next week. So it seems here that Mnuchin is kind of seen as one of the good guys by both sides, and he's trying to help the two sides reach a bipartisan agreement. Meanwhile, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy says that he doesn't expect the next stimulus package to pass before the end of July. McCarthy believes that Pelosi will attempt to hold up the bill by attempting to sneak in additional things into the package. He believes the challenge will be whether the Democrats even want to have a bill. McCarthy even pointed out that the Democrats in the Senate stopped the bill around police reform by denying their rights to even debate the bill. McCarthy went on to say that in the HEROES Act, the bill that the House Majority Democrats passed back in May, had other things that weren't really necessarily related to this pandemic, such as cannabis, election reform, and other things like that. As you can see, McCarthy is trying to shift a lot of the blame here onto Nancy Pelosi and other Democrats, much like how Pelosi and other Democrats are trying to shift the blame to Mitch McConnell and other Republicans. It's a fingers pointing blame game right now. How about instead of pointing fingers, we come together one last time for the American people to get this next relief package passed? McCarthy said the real focus on the next relief package will be on what helps this nation to be sure we're safer, getting back to work, what helps our students within schools, and helping schools and small businesses with liability protection. McCarthy went on to say that there are already more than 1,000 lawsuits between school districts and businesses claiming that they got the virus from that particular place, even though we're not able to prove where the virus came from. He said that right now we have numerous businesses that are simply too afraid to reopen back up because they don't want to be sued. Therefore, McCarthy wants some protections to be in place for schools, businesses, and hospitals. And once again, I ask you guys, what do you personally think about this? Do you believe that businesses should be shielded from lawsuits as long as they're acting in good faith? Or do you believe that businesses should be able to be sued in relations to this virus? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Unemployment is set to technically expire in less than 2 weeks, so let's hope that Congress can pass the next stimulus package before July 31st. Even though Kevin McCarthy doesn't seem incredibly optimistic about this next stimulus package passing before the end of July, let's hope that the Democrats and the Republicans can set aside their differences and actually get this bill passed. Now, most likely if the unemployment benefits do get extended, they're going to drop from $600 on a weekly basis down between $200 to $400 on a weekly basis. Now, with all that said, do you believe that only receiving between $200 to $400 on a weekly basis for the federal unemployment benefits is fair? Or do you believe that we should renew the federal unemployment benefits to another 6 months at the full $600? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Alright, so at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and answer some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. And if you have any other comments or questions for me, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I do try to respond to as many comments and questions as I possibly can. And those comments and questions that I'm not able to respond to, I do try to pick some of the more popular ones to answer in the next video in video form. Okay, so without further ado, let me go ahead and jump into the first comment of today's video. And that comment comes from Sherry. Sherry says, "When will I get my second stimulus check?" All right, thank you so much for that question, Sherry. And unfortunately, since the next stimulus package has not yet passed, we don't have an official date yet. I will say, though, that once the next stimulus package does pass, I would expect those stimulus checks to start rolling out within 2 to 3 weeks after it does pass. So if this next stimulus package passes by July 31st, for example, I would expect those stimulus payments to begin being sent out in mid to late August. All right, moving right along to the next question of today's video is from Nicole. Nicole says, to be eligible for the second stimulus check, do married couples have to make less than $40,000 together or individually? All right, thank you so much for that question, Nicole. And as of right now, there are no income limitations to receiving the next round of stimulus payments. If Mitch McConnell does get his way and only people earning less than $40,000 on an annual basis receive the next round of stimulus payments, then that should be doubled for married filers. So it would be less than $80,000 for married filers and less than $40,000 for single filers. But I don't expect there to be an income limitation as low as $40,000. I also expect that the next round of stimulus payments will have a cutoff at $75,000, much like in the CARES Act. All right, so on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you did enjoy the content in this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It is completely free to do so, and it's a great support to me. Also, if you would like to receive 2 free stocks from Webull, the second stock valued all the way up to $1,400, feel free to claim those 2 free stocks by clicking the link in the description box below. And until next time, I'll see you guys, and I hope you have a great day today.